Hello, welcome back to Paul's Racing Channel and to the Ultimate Racing League for round 6 of our Super Touring Car Championship from League 3. This is race 2 from Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. And, well, when I said in race 1 that there was some rain expected, but we were hoping it weren't going to reach our region, well, you can see there, it certainly has. And it's a bit more than just a little bit of drizzle, isn't it? Absolutely drenching. I think the merchandise shops have gone probably sold out of all the wet weather gear, the cagoles and the umbrellas. I don't even think an umbrella would hold this lot, but anyway, this should be fun. Lights are on, still middle of the day, believe it or not. So let's go through this grid. So Aaron in pole position, Bailey in second, Brisbane in third, Aussie fourth, Phil Mack in fifth, Firepower sixth, Potsy seventh, Vex in eighth, Sideways in ninth, Slowpoke 10th, Biggie 11th, Stealth in 12th, Max 13th, Smoky Tom 14th, Graham in 15th. There you go. There's your grid. And watch those lights. Here we go. Let's see how the boys get on, or the drivers get on here with these conditions in these cars. Thankfully they're not GR3s, but they're just going to be just as tricky as they come round turn 1. And then heading down to Eau Rouge would be interesting, shouldn't it? As Phil Mack has a little bit of a moment down there. Or was that Firepower? Might have been Firepower actually. Had a little bit of a moment out there on the curbs. But let's see what happens as they go as they possibly fast as they possibly dare through Eau Rouge and up and under. Do we all get through? Oh, a few sliding. Oh no, that's Firepower. I think he might have just lost it. Oh, well, he did well to hang on to it actually, but he did get a penalty for some reason. He got a penalty. I'm not sure, maybe just for cutting the track, but that's harsh. Did well to keep it though on that black stuff in the end. Slowpoke in 8th. He's going to have a go up the outside or inside of Firepower as well. Oh, a bit of movement up here as well. Phil takes on Vex, fighting, so it's all going to be close here. Brisbane also attacking Aussie. Aaron and Bailey out top. Aaron trying to go around the outside. Aussie or Brisbane, I think that might be going up the inside. Didn't get that third place over Aussie. Aaron didn't get that done around the outside of Bailey though. There's Phil Mack, and Vex is looking keen. A bit too keen, Vex. Oh, and he was looking keen to get past, and it looked like he had a lot of pace at that point, but maybe just a bit too much. And that was the end of that. Back to 15th foot. Vex, unfortunate. Just looked like he was pushed a little bit too hard there. That's Firepower behind his teammate now, still got that half a second penalty. And then Slowpoke, Smoky Tom, Stealth, Graham, Sideways. There's Smoky Tom round the outside of Slowpoke. Slowpoke not having a good, whoever is one of his favourite tracks here. Looks a bit tentative tonight. I mean, obviously the weather doesn't help in this particular race, but doesn't look his normal self, does he? Stealth still holding off Graham behind him, but Stealth having a look up the inside now of Slowpoke as they head down now. Stealth on the outside though. Don't have to go too far out there. No, he did get it done. Slowpoke let him go through there. Slowpoke, he's just going backwards and backwards. They're all passing him. Graham in 10th place now. He's going to have a look. Actually, 9th already as they get into the chicane. Stealth half a second penalty. That must have been for corner cutting as well. Sideways there in 11th with Potsy 12th. Oh, and who's that? That's that is Slowpoke. So just to make things a little bit more easier for him, decides to have a moment, drops him back to 13th. He was going backwards anyway, wasn't he? Little mistake. There's Max in 14th and Vex after his big one in 15th. So the two Hyundais at the back there. That's our leader's doing. Well, it's Bailey who's actually taking it ahead of Aaron. So come up for Eau Rouge. Oh, Brisbane with a moment as well. Just missed that, but gathered it up with Phil Mack now behind him, having a go up the outside into 3rd place. More power, more grip in that Ferrari than in that Jag at that point. Now Brisbane's going to fight straight back. Oh, didn't quite make it. That would have been a bit of a late one there had he gone for that. I think most of the drivers are on intermediates. Probably have a few on the wets, full wets. And in fact, that might be why Slowpoke was going back. Maybe he is one of them that's on the full wets, possibly. Could be an intermediate track at the moment, or surface at the moment. Whichever way you look at it, it ain't very appealing, is it? Look at that shot. All the rooster tails coming off at the back of the cars. Closing up nicely at the front though. Aaron, again, putting that pressure on behind Bailey. Looks like they've got used to these conditions already after 5 minutes. Some drivers just thrive on these conditions, others absolutely hate it. But what can you do? As I say, we were hoping it was going to miss us, but it hasn't. It's Phil Mack now. He's looking like he wants a bit of Aaron, and Aaron can't quite get past Bailey yet. Firepower still in 6th place, looking really good. They're attacking Aussie now. Nicely controlled there for the drivers through the chicane. As you watch them come through. Oh, I say that, and there's someone who's at the moment at the back there, and it's Sideways George, literally going sideways there. So that weren't the right line, was it? Drops back to 13th, Vex in 14th, Max in 15th, so they're still where they were. They've changed spots, changed positions. But yeah, moment for Sideways there, unlucky. For Eau Rouge again. There's Graham. Not sure if there's a dry line forming. Yeah, it does look like a bit of a dry line forming there on the track. Of course, the wet guys with the wets on, they'll be looking to try and get as much of the wet surface as they possibly can. They don't want that dry surface. It's just going to wear those tyres out quicker. They're going to be slow as well. So they'll be looking for as much of the wet surface as they possibly can get. Firepower still in 6th place on his intermediates tyres. And Graham, Slowpoke, Biggie, Smoky Tom, Potsy. Photographers there taking the photos. Have to wipe their lenses, won't they? Not going to get much for those photos if they're all blurred otherwise. Phil Mack has got through, and where's Aaron gone? Dropped all the way back to 5th. So Bailey in the lead as he was. Phil Mack up to 2nd, Brisbane up to 3rd, Aussie 4th. And Aaron all the way back to 5th place. And a half a second penalty, so that's clearly why he's got the penalty. He's had the moment somewhere. Picked up the penalty at the same time as Firepower goes up into 5th place past Aaron. So he was fighting up there in 2nd behind Bailey. Drops all the way back to 5th now, or 6th even now, does Aaron. So what can Phil do? Up in 2nd position. Aussie with half a second as well. Running it wide there, I'd imagine. Oh, and that was Brisbane, I think, having a moment, was it? It was certainly a jag, yes it was. All the way out into the left to see the back end going. That's allowed Aussie through to 3rd, who's got that half a second still. But Brisbane with a moment, Firepower having a good look up the inside of Aaron. And in fact, Aaron's got that place off of Firepower, so Aaron's up to 5th now, and he's on the back of Brisbane after his little moment. So a few little errors creeping in, 9 minutes in. Impossible not to have a few moments in these conditions for any driver. Throttle control, car control. And brain control as well. As Aaron has a look around the outside. To go on the outside here, you can be on the inside for the next part of the S's, which he tried, but Brisbane weren't giving it to him. So it just remains in 5th place. But he's pushing hard as Aaron. That NSX does look like it's quite settled on these, on this wet surface. I say that, he's obviously had a moment because he's got back to 5th, but when you look at him, his lines compared with others, it certainly look like it's planted. Could be that he had a little nudge from someone, who knows. I missed the incident yet again, but I think it was all his own doing. Now Ozzy obviously has got that penalty, which will be taken off soon, and both Brisbane and Aaron will, or should, get that 3rd place off him. He'll drop back to possibly 5th place. Certainly will lose that 3rd. Oh, and Brisbane with a lot of curb there, and he's already done that, and Aaron's up the inside. Good move. Little moment from Brisbane allowed Aaron to go through up the inside. Ozzy will take off that penalty now. That will just slow him down. He's going to get passed by these two. He does, back to 5th. And then Bailey and Phil, they've gone, but it's still Bailey up top with Phil in 2nd, and this lot, Firepower still fighting in here in 6th place. He loves all this sort of racing action, wants to be involved. Everyone's there actually. Slowpoke, Biggie with a little, almost lost it through the chicane. In fact, he might have lost it through the chicane. No, he just lost a bit of time, actually, didn't he? But here they come up through to the hairpin. Aaron still holding off Brisbane. Ozzy, Firepower, Slowpoke. Great race. And actually not as bad as what I thought. And I think Biggie's had another moment. He's had a big eat somewhere. Biggie's had a big eat. Because he's back to 9th. There he is, getting done by Potsy. Down the bottom of the hill, up through Eau Rouge. And yeah, Biggie's had a couple of moments as he gets done again. And who's that? That was Smoky Tom, corner of my eye, I see. So he's all the way back to 13th. Let it loose as he come out of Eau Rouge at the top of the hill. Sideways 14th. Max in 15th. Drifting it up the top there. Bailey still holding off Phil though. Phil's heels appears to be catching Bailey. Brisbane 3rd. Aaron 4th still. This is all still it was, is it? Ozzy 4th at 5th, Firepower in 6th. Slowpoke now up to 7th with Potsy behind him. The two McLarens, 7th, 8th place. Graham in 9th, Stealth in 10th. So Stealth, I think there's a top 10 now. Phil Mack actually with that fastest lap here, a 2:44.010. Oh, Biggie at the background there again, really wide. Someone else as well, that's Smoky Tom. A couple of them taking that corner really wide. Might get penalties. There's a yellow flag. Now who's the yellow flag for? And it's Aaron. He's had the moment yet again through the fast left-hander. Keeps right out of the way of everybody. And that's about put paid for his chances of any podium here in race 2. Going into the last minute now of the race, and again, a bit like race 1 really. Looked like he was in control up there, pretty much. Until he's had that moment as Graham, his teammate, trying to get past Vex there in 9th place. So that will mean that the two NSX's 10th and 11th spot. Let's have a look at the battle up top, because that looks like that's closed in. Well, I think it had, but Phil's just had a little squiggly moment through the exit of the chicane here. Brisbane's through nicely, 3rd place. Aussie 4th. Firepower 5th place. Slowpoke in 6th. So Firepower made another spot, and there's another yellow flag. And who's this this time? Well, I think it's just a... I'm not sure what that was. Can't see anybody out there. All as they were. Bailey, Phil Mack, Brisbane, Aussie, Firepower, Slowpoke. And then this lot, Potsy, Vex, Graham. And then Aaron. There's Stealth in 13th. And then sideways, that's Biggie having a battle into the final lap now for all the drivers. Where did Biggie go? Well, Biggie, it's having a disaster in race 2. Just disappeared out of shot, and that's not quite the right line through there. So 13 for him. Smokey might take him as well. Yeah, he stays right out of the way, does Biggie. Up through Eau Rouge, and he's all the way back to last place in 15th now. Half a second penalty as well. The game likes to do that. Being last, as if that wasn't bad enough, it decides to give you half a second as well. We'll watch our leaders come around now. Bailey holding off. Controlled it really, hasn't he, from the start in the Citroen. Now, can he get the victory? I'm not going to say anything, because in these conditions anything can happen. Even this late in the race, it looks like, fingers crossed for Bailey that is, he's gonna bring it home in first. Phil will take that 2nd spot for sure. But it's just what Bailey wanted after missing out in race 1 with maximum points from his rival Aaron. He's going to get maximum points here. And it'll be all pretty much back where they were in terms of points in the championship. In fact, Bailey would probably be better off, because Aaron's down in 7th spot at the moment. Depends on what happens in race 3, of course. But as we watch them come through now, through the final corner, well done to Bailey, race winner, race 2. Congratulations. Phil Mack will get that 2nd spot. He'll take that for sure. Brisbane, another 3rd place for him. Well done, Aussie. Good 4th for Aussie. And in Firepower, he'll be certainly going to be happy with that in 5th for him. Well done. Slowpoke will get 6th spot. Aaron coming in 7th. Probably the best he could have got in the end after his race there. Vex in 8th, Graham in 9th, Sideways in, Potsy in 10th. Graham in 9th, Potsy in 10th, Sideways 11th, Stealth in 12th. Biggie fighting off Smokey, who's going to get that 13th. Oh, and it's going to be Smokey, so Smokey's going to get it. He does. So Smokey gets 13th, Biggie 14th, and Max will come in 15th. So, how did you like that? With a bit of rain. So we'll see what happens in race 3. Will we still have it? Will it clear off? You'll have to stay and find out for race 3 coming up. And that's the 30-minute race, remember. So hope you enjoyed the action so far. Join me again soon for that one, and I'll see you there.